In 1914, Ernest Shackleton embarked on what would become one of the most harrowing and legendary expeditions in history. Leading 27 men aboard the Endurance, Shackleton set sail for Antarctica, intending to cross the frozen continent, a feat that had never been attempted before. But when their ship became trapped in the thick ice of the Weddell Sea, the men faced not just a failed expedition, but a fight for survival. Their ship was soon crushed by the ice, forcing them to endure over 500 days of extreme conditions, fighting starvation, frostbite, and the unrelenting Antarctic wilderness. The Nat Geo documentary Endurance brings this extraordinary story to life, not just through a retelling of historical events but by blending footage from Shackleton's original voyage with a 2022 expedition to locate the wreck of the ship. Directed by Elizabeth Chai-Vasarhelyi, Jimmy Chin, and Natalie Hewitt, the film interweaves past and present, showing not only Shackleton's journey but also the modern quest led by maritime archaeologist Menson bound to rediscover the remains of the Endurance, lost 3,000 meters below the sea for over a century. What makes Shackleton's saga so remarkable is that it was filmed at the time. Frank Hurley, the expedition's photographer and cinematographer, documented their ordeal, creating footage that still feels almost otherworldly. Hurley's images, preserved for posterity, allow us to witness the men in the depths of their struggle. They carry out daily tasks in the face of unimaginable conditions, a seemingly calm demeanor masking the horrors of their situation. The film draws on these remarkable records, along with letters and diaries from the men themselves, to paint a vivid picture of the expedition. The documentary contrasts the poetic, almost mythical nature of Shackleton's journey with the modern, technology-driven approach of the 2022 expedition. In doing so, Endurance becomes a reflection on the differences between two distinct ages, one driven by raw human endurance, faith, and the will to survive, and the other guided by scientific precision, technology, and innovation. Shackleton's world was one where man faced off against the untamed elements, relying on grit and luck. In contrast, Bound's team utilizes advanced equipment and technology to explore the Antarctic depths. Yet, despite the technological marvels that allowed Bound's team to locate the Endurance, the documentary doesn't present these journeys as equals. Shackleton's voyage, with all its risks and its ultimate failure to reach Antarctica, remains incomparable in its sheer audacity and human perseverance. The parallel journey in the present, while fascinating, feels safer, more calculated, and, as a result, slightly less gripping. The film's use of modern techniques like colorization and sound effects evokes the same sense of wonder as Peter Jackson's They Shall Not Grow Old, a World War I documentary that similarly revitalized century-old footage. While some might balk at such enhancements, they breathe new life into Hurley's original footage, allowing us to experience the cold, the ice, and the sheer isolation the men endured. Yet, it's a delicate balance. The addition of reenactments, for example, feels unnecessary at times, as the documentary's strength lies in what is already there, the raw, silent footage of the men themselves, struggling against impossible odds. Shackleton's voyage is more than just a historical footnote, it's an epic tale of survival, leadership, and the human spirit. One of the most intense sequences of the documentary focuses on Shackleton's daring and desperate decision to take 5 men on an 800-mile journey in a small lifeboat to seek help. They sailed through some of the world's most treacherous waters, eventually reaching South Georgia, only to face another harrowing challenge, scaling mountains and glaciers to reach the whaling station on the other side of the island. The film captures the immense danger and extreme conditions of this part of the journey, a moment that epitomizes what Shackleton is remembered for, his unwavering determination to save his men. Endurance does not only succeed in portraying Shackleton as a larger-than-life figure but also gives us insight into the ordinary men who followed him. Their resilience, their camaraderie, and their willingness to trust Shackleton even in the direst of circumstances make their story all the more inspiring. The documentary also touches on the fact that Shackleton was not merely an adventurer but a man under tremendous pressure. Desperate for funding, with previous expeditions having failed, he ignored warnings from seasoned whalers about the dangers of setting out so late in the season, a decision that would ultimately lead to their predicament. The 2022 expedition to find the wreck of the Endurance had its own challenges, but the stakes were nowhere near as high as they were in 1914. The film's cross-cutting between these two journeys is fascinating but occasionally undermines the suspense. We already know that Shackleton's men survived, and we also know that Bound's team succeeded in locating the Endurance, so the thrill of discovery is muted. Still, the contrast between the two expeditions is one of the film's greatest strengths, as it forces viewers to consider how much has changed in exploration and survival over the past century. In the end, Endurance is a remarkable documentary that brings to life one of the most incredible survival stories ever told. Shackleton's journey is one that defies the odds, a testament to human endurance in the face of overwhelming adversity. The film, while more scientific and less poetic than other retellings of the Shackleton saga, offers viewers a unique blend of history and modern adventure. The footage of Shackleton's men, frozen in time, still has the power to transport us back to a world where men faced the raw power of nature with little more than hope and sheer will. And in rediscovering the wreck of the Endurance, we are reminded that while the world has changed in countless ways, the spirit of adventure and discovery continues to drive us forward.